It has been 33 days since Chris was last spotted in public. Welcome to the Christian Update, my name is GiBi. If you watched my last video, you know that I've been away for about a month on vacation, and so now I'm back, and quite a lot has happened. Right when I left, we got a new Gamer from Mars video about Chris. There was some new unreleased information in there. We will be touching on that in a different video. This video is going to be strictly about Chris's social media posts over the last month. Flashing all the way back to May 1st, 2025, Chris posts about I Love Kim Possible a Lot's video taking down Saberspark. This video was quite controversial and has actually been taken down by I Love Kim Possible a Lot. It's been highly criticized. Saberspark did a response to it, basically saying that she lied about him and created false sexual harassment allegations that never happened. While at the time this was seemingly a big positive video taking down established YouTubers who had done terrible things, it's now being looked back at as a hit piece. But when Chris made this tweet, he didn't know that. He said, Saberspark is not so saber smart. Neither were DA Games. DA Games is another person targeted in the video. This is actually not the first I Love Kim Possible a Lot crossover with Chris Chan. I've talked about her on this channel before. I believe back then she was I Love KP a Lot. That's what I remember calling her. But she actually did a video in which Chris featured. So Chris has been in contact with this person before. I will also throw in my lightning heart lightning on the subject, although I'm sure that Chris intends that to mean my 2 bolts, which is his way of saying his 2 cents, which is his way of saying his thoughts on the matter. For too long, it has been where the celebrity or someone in power would be careless and callous to flirt around and date their fans and or groupies. Fans typically do not know the individual outside of what is shown on screen, and worse by physical appearance and looks alone. Everyone feels that urge that needs to be resisted. Everyone feels that urge that needs to be resisted. I think he's talking about parasocial relationships. And while yeah, it is kind of icky when you hear stories about like YouTubers who will meet up fans at VidCon and like, you know, have groupie-like sessions. There's also quite a lot of YouTubers who ended up marrying their fans, like Peanut Butter Gamer or Donkey and PewDiePie. Personally, I feel even casual flirting or dating is wrong. I have learned that the hard way with my theoretical exes. I don't think he means dating is wrong in general, I think he means dating his fans, but obviously they weren't his fan. I love how he still refers to them as his theoretical exes, because they're his exes but they weren't real. I don't think he knows that that's not what theoretical means. Consent is definitely by mutual, conscious agreement. Thank you for telling us that, Chris. I'm glad that you've explained that you understand that concept. I wish you'd understood that in 2020. It is not implied at all from flirting and flashing, especially when it is to take advantage of one or the other. Flashing? What do you mean by this, Chris? I should probably not judge, no you should not, due to my reckless flirting and all in the sweetheart search over the years. But I still feel sick when I hear of someone doing such things with anyone. The other thing to remind me, is that not only has Chris been on the celebrity end of parasocial relationships where fans will come up to him and be like, Chris, I'm in love with you, obviously lying. But he's also been on the other end. He is obsessed with YouTubers. All the brony analysts, all those people he was like sending messages to. He's been both the fan and the celebrity in this case. So for him to come and rant to other people about how this is a bad mentality to have, either he's learned from his mistakes, yeah, okay, or he's being a hypocrite. Chris Chan, never. I feel sick when I hear of someone doing such things with anyone regardless of gender identity. Why would the gender matter, Chris? So a general rule of thumb to any celebrity or anyone in power, do not flirt or anything with your fans. If you're famous, you can only date other famous people. That's right. And to all the fans, if you are not really close to them to begin with or know them personally, you should not be tempting them with the flirting. I mean, yeah, that's a little true. And it gets worse now that artists and content creators are thrown into this fame-filled mentality. There is good logic to remain humble and grounded as such. Art inspires, but can also be mistakenly shown off the person's Art inspires, but it can also be mistakenly show off the person's mentality. I'm not reading it wrong, he's writing it wrong. I was wrong by even going not safe for work in the additional pages of Book 8, extended version, after seeing the art of Rosie Rosechew with a penis. I am also aware that the comments and fan art made by anyone about me, as well as those of other people, are impersonal and not meant to be taken seriously or personally. That is mostly true. When people make fan art about Sonichu or comics insulting Chris, they're not insulting Chris the person typically. They're insulting, like, the concept of the internet cryptid that is Chris Chan. I should never have reacted to those bad arts in the first place. That was a bad rabbit hole to fall into. and it is so easy to fall into that and similar depths, if not self-refrained with inner will and conscious strength. Point is, celebrities and fans, do not flirt or casually date the other if neither of you really know the other as individuals and can appreciate and tolerate each other for the longer time. Yeah, don't date anyone unless you know the other person deep down already. It's definitely not the point of dating to get to know people. Not at all. That is all, thank you. I think when he means casually date, he just means, like, sleep around. But yeah, I don't know where Chris is, like, sitting on his high pony saying that he has the ability to tell people this advice when he just does and did this all the time from both sides of the coin. A couple days later, May 4th, hey everyone, the Dimension Merge is completing with the finalization of a few details. You've been saying that since you were arrested, Chris. The merge is on. Oh no, he's talking about the Pope dying. I feel I need not go into detail about the recent chaos between the Vatican looking for the next Pope after Easter Sunday, as well as Trump. I will, however, state that the agreement made with Zelensky was a step in the right direction. Yeah, that didn't go anywhere, Chris. Not yet, at least. Yet, Trump fell right back into his habits. I like the Dimension Merge is being completed because the Pope died. It's not something that happens every, 10 years. In any event, I am paying attention to the signs around me and everywhere, and we are making the greater progress. I think that's supposed to be like a Doctor Strange portal. Other than that, I want to express how thankful I am for the years of my art and work being appreciated, yet not appreciated or understood by some. I have been in self-improvement work often these days, on top of continuing my works. I feel like I tend to do better when not thinking over the years of abuse from people online, and I have realized I needed not to have exhibited myself as much as I have. I wish I had understood that online comments are impersonal and not taken them seriously. Maybe I wouldn't have overshared in taking the Encyclopedia Dramatica page down. It would have likely been better had I never googled my own name on that Nintendo Wii, as well as how I portrayed myself in the videos over the years. Was it really worth laughing at my expense, though? I think that's something that's kind of controversial in modern Christery, looking back at the early days of people just laughing at this autistic guy on the internet and being like, if I was around back then, would I have laughed at Chris? And it's kind of unclear. I think the justification a lot of people back then had was that Chris was extremely homophobic. So, yeah, it's okay to laugh at him because he's a bad person, but, you're still laughing at him because he's autistic, which is not good. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that question. But here we are in this moment as we progress and move forward. Think on all that. The sun is leaking. Someone made a fake Wes Isley account. Don't do that. Don't impersonate real people who want nothing to do with this. I think one of the worst things I've ever done as far as, covering Chris was going on a video that was about Wes Isley as, being a magician. Talking about his act, and I'm like, oh, don't Google Sonichu, haha. Yeah, I should not have done that, and you guys shouldn't do that either, please. I'm sure he wants nothing to do with any of this. I have a thought that I'd like to share, starting from item label PP and friends. Peppy, I don't know. Clicking the hashtag brings up an error page. Okay, thank you, Blue Sky. A lot of them are criminals, apparently? Who's Peppy? Okay, so item label is, little weird stuffed animal things. These are actually kind of neat. It's like, I don't know, absurdist Beanie Babies. Yeah, Peppy. Here's a list of every Peppy we've ever made. Okay. I get it. They're things. What? Why are they criminals? In-universe, the characters are criminals? Is that what Chris is saying? A lot of them are criminals, apparently. It says so in the backstories of a lot of them. Yeah, okay. So these are cute little stuffed animals, given weird proportions, and they're, criminals. Haha, isn't it funny that, a cute thing is actually bad? Stabby the penguin? In that, I'd like to think at least one Hui or Peppy that actually never committed any crimes while its peers have all committed at least one crime. Can you even imagine that? It would be nearly impossible. What? I don't understand. He's trying to imagine a character who's never committed crimes but all of his friends have. There is a valid commentary on this world within that. Absolutely no one on this planet has not committed absolutely any crimes at all, yet everyone has broken the speed limit. Therefore I, who is in jail for a sex crime, am equal to all of those people. Yet I still personally witness and experience people helping others out of kindness. Holding the door open for others, donating money to a charity, or even a beggar on the street, and so on, which does not give the giver any intended return other than good karma. And even then, some abuse that with a selfish intention of getting into heaven realm. Doing good is to be done for the sake of doing good and nothing else in intention. Yes, correct. Good. You did it. You figured it out. Another fair comparison I'll throw in. The Shattered Glass universe, which is an alternate universe in the Transformers lore where everyone is evil or people are their alliance is flip-flopped. The bad universe. The dark multiverse. The alternate universe where everyone's respective morals are opposite of us. I don't know why I bothered to explain it. Chris just did. Think on that. What? Wait, that's just his point? Another fair comparison I'll throw in the Shattered Glass universe. What about it? Think on that. To them, it's criminal to be and do good, and every one of them has done at least one good non-selfish thing in their lifetime. It's more commonplace... What? It's more commonplace to be good here, yet a lot of you give concern and praise to criminals and evil individuals. But is he talking about, like, Trump? Why? Because you were a criminal on at least one occasion, and this is a criminal who steals things, wants to destroy monuments and whatever, or sends out a lot of neutral individuals out to fight a war and risk of their own death. Now I'm confused, because that would apply to, like, Zelensky, right? There's a lot of neutral individuals out to fight a war in risk of their own death, or even sends out a lot of neutral individuals out to war to their own death. I'm sure that he thinks he's talking about Putin here. But, like, by Chris's logic, you could just, oh, you're being invaded? Just roll over. Just let him invade you. Don't war. War's always bad, right, Chris? As well as PTSD are similar that scars the survivors. I get it. These villains and bad people are the counter to good, the yin and yang of Zen, and so on. There must be light to outshine darkness, and darkness try to overwhelm the light power. Yet they are still celebrated as opposed to the individuals who do good. They are the real heroes. Yeah, the heroes are the real heroes, not the villains. What is he even saying? This is probably least comprehensible Christian thread in a while. A detail I will bring up. Without darkness, we can't really appreciate the light and light power. You fall into the temptation of darkness and commit a crime, minor or large, it will bite you down the road. Going 31 and a 30, it will bite you. It was a crime of me to let myself fall for the ploys of the online trolls who faked interest in me and give up in content that had been leaked and wrongfully memed. It was a crime? Chris, it was not a crime for you to be swindled and to you consensually and to then non-consensually give someone a sex tape. Like, you did nothing wrong there, morally, crime-wise. It may have been naive, but you were actually a victim in that circumstance. What are you talking about? Why was that a crime? And I hold those respective trolls accountable as well, in conditioning me wrongfully into that darkness time and again. It was a crime of me to even use a hand-drawn sign in the Sweetheart Search's early days. No, it was not! I should have accepted that I was too shy, didn't have any friends, and actually opened up to making new friendships, instead of essentially sulking. Sulking... I mean, his little sign things on the college campus may have been soliciting, but, like, making the sign, even walking around in public, wasn't necessarily a crime. What is he talking about? It was a real crime of me and everyone in general who portrays fictional It was a real crime of me and everyone in general who portrays fictional individuals naked and in grotesque situations and scenes. Also, not a crime. Try empathy. Here, these individuals portrayed in various medias are real, just like you and I. And what if someone drew that of you without consent? Regardless of it being impersonal or not. It does not feel so good, does it? I was never flattered, and I should have never retaliated at the expense of Sanchi, Rosie, Silvana, and myself, and so on. Why does this pressure into sex need to be? I think it means, like, why does the focus on making everything sexualized need to be? This is coming from someone who had, like, a Sailor Moon porn parody tape. We know this because Megan talked about it. I can't judge, because I ended up becoming a pervert. Yes, you did. Yet I still feel disgusted and ashamed of myself. I blame myself for letting myself be conditioned by such from within the surroundings of this world. Okay, there's an argument to be made that Chris was conditioned, as he said. Although he was, like, 25, 26, 27 at the time. You could infantilize him and be like, it's because of the autism. Right, that's Chris's accent, that's a Chris quote. But at some point you have to accept that, like, Chris is just an adult. The solace I get is having endured that darkness and become grateful of the light power. Let they, who is truly without any sin, nor have committed any crimes, big or minor, cast the first stone to the lot of us all. All we can do is move forward the best we are capable of, being grateful of the light power and good that blesses us all, and encourage others to do good by doing good. All this stuff is really interesting because, like, if Chris never does anything bad for the rest of his life, then, like, you could look back at this post and be like, wow, that really was Chris's turning point. But I'm sure anybody who watches this is just as jaded as me and knows that Chris Chan never changes. He's like war, which he hates. Okay, this is kind of an important story. So Gino Samuel has been releasing episodes of Sonichu Animated, going through Chris's comic books and getting them voiced over and making the pictures move and making a TV show out of it. The videos were absolutely incredible, and I was looking forward to him covering the entire series, and then Chris copyright striked them. They've been removed from YouTube. Hey everyone, as some of you are aware, I have indeed personally struck down Gino Samuel's recent animations based for my books. I had felt ill will, as I was not personally consulted with nor involved in that project. Not to mention, he did not include any links to my Etsy or QuickLike, which he doesn't have to. You could argue that Gino's work was a parody of Chris, the same way that Chris's work is a parody of Pokemon and Sonichu, but I don't really think that would hold up. I do think that Gino was technically infringing on Chris's copyright. Or not copyright, just like his work, I don't know. It's really weird when you make fan art of a copyrighted character because your art is protected, but you also yourself don't really have a right to it because it's based on someone else's work. So yeah, I think that using the dialogue verbatim and taking Chris's actual drawings is copyright infringement. So like Chris is technically in the right. However, it's very rich of him to say that when he's defended his entire lifetime of violating copyright by either saying that it's parody when it's not, or by saying that nothing is copyrightable because it's all real. If Chris actually believes the events of his comic book happened in another dimension, there is no such thing as copywriting them because you cannot copyright history. So Chris is being a big liar. In any event, had I been contacted, I would have considered collaborating with him and lend my voice for Sonichu Prime and Chris Chan. That remains a possibility, though. Regardless, I did feel like after the success of the documentary series, this endeavor would not have netted him the views he desired. What? Yes, it would. Those videos were incredible, as it does not recapture that metaphorical lightning in a bottle he had before. It is a shock, as others have experienced, when one's content or even channel gets taken down. I've been there before when my websites were hacked into and needed to be taken down, so I do empathize. You empathize with him for what you did to him. Cool. Great. Thanks, Chris. Also, I just disagree that, like, Gino's videos will not be as popular as they once were. I think once he starts covering the jail saga, the cell saga, they'll be equally as popular, if not more, because people really want insight into that period of Chris history. Okay, now we get Chris talking about Saberspark's response to KPA a lot's video. KPA a lot, KP a lot. I have watched Saberspark's response to I Love Kim Possible a lot's video and the accusations. Here are my 2 bolts at this time. At this point, it's a they said situation. It's clear that KP had the chips on her shoulder against Saber, but moreover, on the issue with Chris and the derogative sex comments, I still offer sympathy to the victim who came out, but I remain aware of the few individuals who will fake and lie to take advantage of someone else, the obligatory theoretical exes reference, especially those with social recognition/celebrity. And the fact that Samer came out, personally, on camera to offer his response, gives me a look into his honesty, yet he puts forward content that point to those who are online vigilantes and their toxicity on the internet. It still is good that he put forward his side of the story. Another detail I will point out in general. Despite some amount of details remaining offline, KP did pretty much go public with the details and drama of the details and her experience. As I have learned from personal experiences over the years, you should never ever put any personal details onto the internet. Now please continue scrolling for more thoughts. Any victim and anyone affiliated with said victim should go to the authorities or even the services Saberspark mentioned at the end of his response video. The fact that KP brought this to the attention of everyone online and on social media was really erroneous. But I also am hearing from the peanut gallery, oh, the police won't do anything, and social services, lol. I emphasize, this is not my personal feeling, but this feeling has been widely popularized to the point that it's been in movies and shows, some in parody, and some of the younger generations took that literally. I actually agree with this. The idea that, like, oh, the police won't do anything might be realistic, but it's a terrible mentality to have. It is better known that authority figures are wanting to help with such situations. You bring in the general public in on it first. What happens? There's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings, and even some impatient ones without the further knowledge, details, and confirmations jump to conclusions and make reckless choices based on doubts and the resulting emotions. I feel it is better to actually know the details and confirmations with a practice and patience. But yeah, KP's and Saberspark's beef over each other just should have been dealt with without involving social media and the billions of others not directly involved. Granted, KP's emails were a mix of either getting replies or being ignored, which with the ignored emails or lack of responses triggered the frustration in her. Some of you are thinking or saying, including KP, that people should know the truth. They have every right to. For the latter, I agree. No, you don't. They don't have every right to. That's what you were just arguing about. But in the context of this drama, did all this need to be made public when, since KP and Saber both live in the same state and the same country, need to be online? Personally, I feel like it could have been handled better, in person and offline. Yeah, because when you're beefing with someone, you should drive to their house. Just to talk. Right, Sniper Wolf? It would have not escalated so much. But now you have Saber threatening to go to the authorities on KP. Not to side with one or the other, but he does have the right, as KP did before going social media public. Open invitation premiere over advertising about all of it. They both have the right to go to the authorities, it's just if you do that and you're making stuff up, it's a problem. Saberspark can absolutely sue her for defamation. I don't know if he'd win, but like, she lied about him. I have experienced similar when I went over public about Encyclopedia Dramatica. I should have just let that simply be and never tried to counter it with oversharing of my personal details. But I did, and look where it got me. If this bad tension between KP and Saber, with Chris having been dealt with and out of the picture present, present picture. The two of them could fall into similar online doom as I have or worse. What? I'm not going to tell either of them what to do about this because I am not them. All I will say though, whatever they do, it should be kept offline until the aftermath or full resolution. Also off topic, leave KP and Saber alone. When it comes to my involvement, I'm not friends with either of them, but I am a fan of both of them, and KP and I were acquainted. The very same is stated with the likes of Doopy Doover? Dover? Is it Dover or Do-Over? Have I always gotten that wrong? I don't know. And the analysts of the Brony community. I was only a fan of theirs, and I am grateful that at least some of them know and or were fans of mine. I'm still open for collabs with them if they want. As for my projects, I'm still continuing with my art and bookworks. I'm even expanding into digital drawing, as you all will see soon enough. And I have people. I count my blessings, and I'm not divulging my personal matters online as much anymore. I've learned hard from over the years. I will still offer my insights and thought, and of course my content. I will host another live stream for finishing Sonic's story soon. He's playing through one of the Sonic video games. So Sonic's story is like Sonic's campaign. Thank you for your patience, and look where it got me. And look where it got me. Where patience got Chris? Because he patiently sat in a jail cell? Okay, I'm guessing this is the Book of Dimensional Merging. I'm guessing this is an excerpt from the Chris Bible, Neo-Spiritual Christianity Bible. And lo, in the light of the internet age, the CPU goddess Blueheart in human and Sonichu forms stood, veil in between. And I, Jesus Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, prime of all, Jesus Chris, and Christ Chan Sonichus throughout the vast multiverse, blessed at birth by the God of gods and the forces at the Alpha Omega point of existence, beheld the merge. For tale, media, and art fictions are not false, and blind masses mocked and took advantage of the chosen one. Yet the truth burns brighter than the quantum fields, brighter than the very core of this universe. And the trolls, deceivers, a living portal between magic and non-magic, psychic and low psychic, the messiah of the merge, Christ and the Avatar reborn, with static fur and electric, metaphysical heart, soul and memories older than time itself, while living and being in present and future. And the trolls, deceivers, and blind masses awaken the chosen one, and the truth rise from the static and powers within the chosen one. And all accepting of the merge shall awaken their self-counterparts and original characters. Those who resist shall fade into the static and holy light of flames. The time is indeed near, for the guardians and guardian angels stand by at the portal gates of the merge, where all magic returns to the non-magic half in tangible manifestations. Those who misuse or abuse the magic will too fade into the static. One aspect of the merge is reconnecting with thine past selves in this timeline and internally merging them with your present self, with thine deep authentic beliefs and virtues. Those who unable or resist will have difficulties as the merge completes. Thus it is spoken, hark, your one avatar of all existence walks among and beside you. The dimensional merge is real. I am the light of sources and gods. I am Prime. I hate how he writes in that style of English that, like, the King James Bible is translated into, as if he thinks that, like, that's how God talked. And then Chris has a video called Grounded Deep Response. This is in the style of Saberspark's response video, and it too will get its own video summarized by me in the future. That is all of Chris's posts for the last month. I hope this was as insightful to you as Chris intended it to be. Go out and zap to the extreme and all that. Thank you for watching. Be sure to be nice to each other in the comments. Consider supporting the creators you admire. Never lose sight of the things that are important to you. And remember to go out and zap to the extreme.